Hello, it's Burgess Taylor, and this is, well, a coffee chat. If you want to watch the plan as you go, you can, but if you want to listen to it, it's going to kind of be like a visual podcast. Yesterday, my best plans and all that. I actually did this yesterday morning. After I did my morning routine, I was drinking my second cup of coffee. And in the weekly things, I change things where I'm just kind of writing a little bit about the day after the day is over. Like a few sentences about maybe what happened. Like yesterday's, my sentences are, or will be, because I haven't written them down yet. We lost electricity for a few moments. We had a power surge. Part of that caused the issues with the internet. I just resolved issues with the internet, and then more. So what happened is when the power surge happened, there's a box right by where they're doing our work on the bridge near our house. And the big box that has to do with everybody's phone and internet and cable through our phone company evidently was sort of messed up. It got hit maybe by the power surge, or somebody hit it when they were doing the work on the bridge. I don't know exactly. And sometimes they say squirrels or birds or whatever, but this time it was due to construction work on the bridge. I redid the tracker, and I wrote everything down. I talked about doing that. The quote right here has to do with some of what I'm doing yesterday and this week. It is our choices that show us what we truly are, far more than our abilities. That's a Dumbledore quote. That circular tracker I will not be doing next month. I'm figuring out what is and isn't working, and this is this week's spread right here in my Omni Journal, which is way neater, much prettier than what is going to end up what's in my Hobonichi. And I'm having issues with that. Perfectionism is rearing its ugly head, y'all, and I've got to get past that. Part of the reason that I wanted to do this as a coffee chat with this planning stuff in the background is because of the perfectionism, facing my demons, as it were. I realized that I'm much neater when I do the bullet journal stuff than when I do the Hobonichi stuff. There's something, my handwriting can be pretty neat in the Hobonichi sometimes, but I was actually doing real planning when I was filming this, and when I'm doing the real planning, when I'm not trying to slow down and be super neat, I end up, this says stick to the plan. That was yesterday. I was supposed to stick to the plan. Well, the plan got thrown out of the window thanks to the lack of internet. But that's okay. That's okay because I learned a valuable lesson yesterday. Oh, what did we do before there was internet? Now, I could have went to McDonald's or to Starbucks or to somewhere where there is free Wi-Fi, and I could have taken this and imported it to maybe the laptop, and I could have tried my hardest to edit a video on my tablet or my laptop. My laptop's a dinosaur and having issues. But I decided to make the most of my time with all of this. And as you can see these pages aren't super neat. And I'm realizing that my hardcore planning, like where I'm actually doing the thinking and planning at the same time, isn't as neat as when I've brainstormed and mapped out things and then put them down. And I don't know if that's the case for other people, but the perfectionism reared its ugly head, and I started thinking, that maybe that was one of the issues I was having all along, was showing the plan with me, because I actually do my real planning. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be one of those. I don't want to have a planner that is only for show. It's the real thing, and showing the real thing makes me feel vulnerable. It puts me out there, and it's not as neat and organized and all. And if I did it ahead of time, maybe, it's much neater when I'm not filming than when I'm actually doing this as I go kind of thing. Perfectionism. Ooh. Every time I think I've dealt with it, every time I think I've gotten past the bulk of it, it rears its ugly head again. Something will pop up, and then I'm surprised. Then I'm taken aback because I don't know what to do with myself. One of the things that I figured out, though, is I'm just a regular person, trying to be more organized, trying to have better time management. And when the perfectionism rears its ugly head, it's because I have overthought something, or I start comparing myself, and then I have to take a step back. Well, I found this quote that had to do with perfectionism and taking a step back, and it made me think, taking a step back after taking a step forward is not a disaster, it's more like a cha-cha. And I said, yeah, that's true. It's very true. Because this dance that I have with perfectionism, this dance that I have with the second guessing myself, I put a hole in my Hovenesia pages, y'all. Did you see that? See the hole? It's probably a good thing I'm doing a voiceover, because I was just a cussing and a fussing when this happened. And then I thought, you know what? No, we're going to take that negative and we're going to make it a positive. And I found some stuff that came from a thing that I cut out that had to do, that me and Victor found. It was like a 25-cent book at the library, and it had some really cute little illustrations on it. And I've had this for over a year. And I decided to go ahead and use those, especially Wednesday's page, because that's when I pick up Victor. I'm just going to make the most of things. I'm not going to stress myself out over things. I can either embrace how sometimes messy my handwriting can be, how sometimes messy my spreads can be, how sometimes messy the page overall can be, and enjoy the creativity of it. And what happened is, after I started stressing over how not so neat that weekly page was, and how I was feeling pressure, because it wasn't Pinterest or Instagram worthy, and I say that with quotation marks in the air. The blessing card that I pulled for yesterday was called the Blessing of Creativity. And it says, express yourself creatively and reconnect with your inner child, and as ideas and inspirations surface, express them without thought. Don't try to make sense of things. Just allow, just feel, just be. This is a time where all is possible. You are limited only by what you think is impossible. With that thought, you're going to see that page, because I'm going to watercolor that page in my Omni journal, and I'm going to use the card as inspiration for that, and I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. But for these pages, I just decided to go ahead and make the most of what I had, and it's okay. I have the spiral decks, or Corona decks, that kind of thing, I think, where it's a stencil, and I played around with it a little bit in the Hovenesia on one day. You'll see that in here, I pointed out. But what I've done, essentially, is find different methods throughout this period of time I've been going through Planner Boot Camp to see what really works for me. Despite my efforts to overcome all the self-doubt and to overcome the perfectionism, it does still rear its ugly head. The video wobbling is because it's the new setup, and I need some kind of stabilizer for that webcam, because the craft table, if it shakes when I'm writing, it causes it. And then I'm thinking, well, do I want to not put the video up because it's a little wobbly? Do I not want to put the video up because yesterday I didn't have internet, and so everything I kind of talk about is now sort of null and void, but only bits and pieces of it aren't? Do I want to go through and edit out half of what I'm saying in the video, or do I just want to do a voiceover and do a coffee chat because you really were supposed to get a coffee chat yesterday anyway? All these thoughts went through my head, and instead of overthinking all of that, I decided to roll with it. So I'm doing the voiceover and doing the coffee chat because the truth is that sometimes we're busy. Sometimes life gets in the way, and sometimes our stick to the plan, our best laid plans, get thrown out of the window because things happen. And what I did yesterday was such a creative day, such a wonderful day spent with my husband, such a great day for me without internet at all. I had no internet at all. None. None. And like I said, I could have went to Starbucks or somewhere, but we cleaned the house. I swept, I mopped, we did the dishes, we cooked leftovers, we did yard work, we folded laundry, cleaned up the living room, I cleaned up some of my craft space, I went through some supplies, I did some journaling, I read, y'all. I read for must have been an hour and a half. Oh, it was so divine to just spend some time, real time reading. I took a nap. I went walking. We hauled trash to the recycling center. I talked to my mom. I talked to my daughter. I really enjoyed the day. I did creative things. I did home things. I got a lot done. And I think the reason that I did that is because once I realized I had no idea when the technician was going to get here. And the technician was great. He didn't show up here until it's probably about 7:45. It was anywhere between 7:35 and 7:45. And then he left because he had to go where the box is down the road. And then he had to come back. And the funny thing is that I wasn't remotely upset about any of it. He was such a nice guy. It turned out to be a blessing, because I got a new router and he set it up and everything's good to go. And I've got to reset my printer again. But it'll be okay. Letting go of that fear of being wrong, of the pages not being perfect, felt liberating. Showing this, for some of you, you're actually going to watch it. Some of you are just going to listen because you're going to be cleaning or journaling or whatever, and you're not going to pay any attention to what is actually up on the screen. You're just going to be listening to me. And that is so cool in this day and age that we can do that. I often listen to people while I journal or plan or clean, as a matter of fact. Sometimes while I cook, my husband is having an allergy attack back here. So if you hear him sneezing, I'm sorry. I don't want to let the perfectionism cause me more stress than is necessary. It messes with my anxiety, which will also mess with depression. It fuels the fear and the frustration and the disappointment, which is a vicious cycle because you've got stress and overwhelm and anxiety and all of that and frustration, and that just makes the fear more intense. It just keeps on feeling. It's like one vicious cycle, and I don't want that. And that messes with your self-esteem, and that ends up leading you down the road towards procrastination, and I just am not dealing with that. I don't know what the standards are. I don't think I want to know what the standards are for what is or isn't Instagram or Pinterest worthy. I post stuff anyway. I post the real thing, and it makes me vulnerable, and I get criticized sometimes because I don't have the white background, because I don't have the perfect choreographed picture or video that so many people are used to in this day and age. But I'm planning and I'm journaling and I'm doing this all on the reel. And if there are other people who are like me that would like to see the more real side of things, then hey, Now, sometimes I can choreograph a little bit of a prettier picture where, you don't have all these supplies and all this mess in the background. But this is the real time. This is what I'm doing right now as I do it. So I don't know. Y'all tell me, when you're looking at all these pretty pictures on Instagram and the pretty post on Pinterest, and you're planning or you're journaling, you're creating art, you're writing, you're doing whatever it is you do, are you not looking at the pictures that aren't perfect? Or are you critical of the pictures that aren't perfect? Or do you enjoy them because it's real? And, it's all part of life. The perfect sometimes happens, and when it happens, I share it too. Sometimes it's the imperfect, though, that makes me smile because all of the creativity, all of the love, all of the productivity, all of that went into it, to me, some of that's imperfectly perfect. So I don't know. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think those pictures are pretty too. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I love looking at them. But at the same time, I have to look at them from an aesthetic point of view and not from the, oh my God, comparing myself. Because comparing myself will not work, because I realize that I'm just much more of a show this messy side of things and the process of it than the end result of it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go because I'm running out of time. Y'all tell me what you think. Do you like both? Do you look at both? Do you enjoy both kinds of pictures and videos and things? Or would you rather have the choreographed? Or would you rather have the messy real life? Or would you rather have a bit of both? Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you again soon. Bye.